the viewers. I am Dr. Rajesh Singh, Associate Professor from Parul Institute of Law, Parul University. Today, I warm welcome Samiksha ma'am, who is the advocate from Supreme Court as well as she is practicing as well as at High Court also at Delhi. Pertaining to the topic of this webinar is effect and limitation of the media trial on the legal proceeding. So this is very interesting topic. Pertaining to this, madam has made a good PPT also, and she is going to elaborate on this topic in a very wide sense. Pertaining to Samiksha madam, I just want to just explain about Samiksha ma'am that she has completed graduation, BA LLB, specialization in IPR from Amici Noida 2012-2017 batch. She is practicing. She has practiced with Indore High Court also, and then she has done the Master of Law from Hidayatullah National Law University Raipur in IPR. And right now she is currently practicing at Delhi High Court as well as Honorable Supreme Court, and she is looking after mainly with the matter of the civil matters. So a warm welcome to ma'am on our virtual platform, and I from Parul Institute of Law warm welcome you ma'am. Now madam, I will just give the description of our Dean sir, Dr. Akhil Sayyed sir. He is the young and dynamic principal and Dean from Parul Institute of Law, Parul University ma'am. Secondly ma'am, Dr. Akhil Sayyed is the first PhD holder from National Law University, Gujarat National Law University, ma'am. Thirdly, that he has a 6 project with his name, ma'am, and he has written 6 books also, and he is the one of the best director awarded at Gujarat also as a best director at our university, ma'am. So I just request Dr. Akhil Sayyed sir to warm welcome Samiksha madam. Dr. Akhil Sayyed sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rajesh. I, on my personal behalf, on behalf of Faculty of Law, Parul University and Parul Institute of Law, ma'am, cordially welcome you on the virtual platform of Parul University. Pranam, namaskar, ma'am. It's a great privilege to see you here on this our virtual platform, and I am very much happy. I went through your profile and I just heard that your master's is in IP law. We also do offer master LLM in IP law, and you are going to talk about effect of media trial. So that also is a very interesting topic. We do have the specialization of mass comm and journalism, and almost all those students are also watching this same because we have created interest in our students of not only the law but of the student of Faculty of Arts who are pursuing their masters in mass comm and journalism, and we are doing this interdisciplinary work in the media and law. So I am very much sure that this contribution and your lecture is going to help not only to the faculty but also students of arts as well as law faculty and lots of lawyers. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir, for this warm welcome, and I'm very happy to be a part of this event today. So when I start, actually I have not yet prepared a PPT on this, but I have a lot of thorough research on this topic because I feel that this is not only a legal topic, but when we come, we will be discussing today about what is the role of media, what laws media play, and even the police, because I will be giving a special emphasis on Sushant Singh Rajput case today. And so preparing a PPT, since it is going on case till now, so I think preparing a PPT would have lessened the impact of it. So maybe I will share my discussions and my research later on, but yet I will speak on it and every aspect of it. So whenever there is a legal case going on, and especially when celebrities are involved in it or some high profile act are involved in it, like now the drug probe is coming in Sushant Singh Rajput case and everything. So it has now become a very haphazard case. Plus, it is not on a simple path of murder or commitment of suicide or anything. So in such a case, we have to say that the person who is being alleged with it being a celebrity or being a known face, and I think now it has become that everyone is blaming someone else for whatever is happening. जितने भी celebrities के नाम आए, whether it's Deepika or Riya, or everyone is blaming someone. And the news reportage which is happening like from each second of breath, I think, which is a very big loss to human rights somewhere, because even if I'm blamed with something, some offense at some point of time, I should be given a proper chance and a proper platform to keep my point as well. Plus, whatever I'm saying or whatever I'm going through is my privacy also. So there is a right to privacy which gets hindered when it comes to media trial. Then the judicial process is hindered. Then the evidences are tampered, and there are so many lack of judicial processes that we go through. So let's discuss one by one each and everything, that how it happens. So the legal principle of presumption which we start with is innocence, which finds its root deeply embedded in our criminal procedure system, as well as the substantive laws governing their respective operations. So whenever a person is blamed with a crime, for example, if somebody is blaming me with robbery, that I robbed something, first, that substance which is being robbed by me should be found within my parameters of reach. Secondly, there has to be well framed, beyond all doubts, evidences that okay, I entered that a particular house at that point of time, everything is happening, and this is how reportage has to be done. And if we see media is the fourth pillar of democracy, so it has to follow certain norms, especially when it comes to criminal proceedings and criminal cases are being reported, because I don't think that media has the power to define who is the criminal. That power only goes to the High Court, the Supreme Court. The court is sitting there to do the justice to the rightful person. So I am not in the position of saying that who is right or wrong, but I feel the kind of reportage now media has started doing is something which is affecting the country at large. I mean, the kind of reportage has been done in religious matters, in criminal matters. I think they are very questionable when it comes to media houses, because media has the only part of playing that they have to report the facts. Ki, okay, this is the incident. Sushant Singh Rajput died on 14th of June, and then these things have come. But running hashtags like arrest Riya Chakravarti, or what is happening in Riya Chakravarti's home. Recently, I came across a footage where Republic News TV channel's car was running in parallel to Deepika Padukone's car, and the reporter from the car was shouting at her कि क्या आपने ड्रग्स लिए, क्या आपने ड्रग्स लिए. वो शीशा नीचे करके नहीं बताएंगे आपको किसी रिपोर्टर को कि उन्होंने ड्रग्स लिए हैं कि नहीं. This is a high profile case. Every evidence will be considered. And the kind of WhatsApp chats which comes on news channel, I think this is also a very integrating point, because at certain point our WhatsApp chats will be there on Republic News also. If this is so easy, end-to-end encryption is not there. I'm not saying that it is wrong, but then you have to have the authenticity of what you're showing on news channels. Means वो WhatsApp chats leak कैसे हो गई, ये बहुत बड़ी क्वेश्चन बात है. वो WhatsApp chat सही है कि नहीं, because even I am aware of some software where you can create WhatsApp chats. So you have to go towards the authenticity of that WhatsApp chats कि वो दीपिका का फोन नंबर था कि नहीं, या वो रिया का फोन नंबर था कि नहीं. So there are so many evidential values and evidentiary aspect to that you just cannot see. And our country is like very open to technology. So the technology and the information which is being put on the onset towards the people should be very accurate and should be full authenticated, because there are so many WhatsApp rounds going on कि आप ये इसको forward करते हैं, आप ये उसको forward करते हैं, and everybody thinks that they know everything. So in that case, it becomes really very difficult for people. Let's go ahead with the legal part and discuss that what is all there. So the right to life, which is guaranteed under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, and the interpretation of which has been substantially extensive, so as to include necessary conditions facilitating a dignified human existence to the procedural established by law. Article 21 of right of his life or personal liberty, except according to procedures, right to life of any person is carried out at the hands of the state. And when we see that there are so many involved in these media reporters are aware about, example, that when there are harassment cases or there are rape cases, so there are who has faced that kind of harassment or rape, her name should not go out in the media. The media has become the new court of the country. It seems that they are giving their judgments, they are bringing the evidences also. They are entering the house, the crime scene, and getting things out of it. This is what happened in Arushi Talwar's case also, that the crime scene was not sealed and everything was hampered. Even the kind of stage shows or the stage scenes which were made on Arushi Talwar's crime scene were being made in a house itself. How can anyone from media do that when the crime scene has to be untouched till the judicial proceeding or the legal proceeding is going on? So I think media's role has become very ridiculously questionable when it comes to trial of such major cases, and this is why we are at loss of good judgments. Even Arushi Talwar case judgment could have been better, but then the place was hampered so much. There so many people entered inside the house that the evidences and the fingerprints and everything was hampered, and then we end up with two theories, and someone had to be punished, so someone got a punishment. But we were not able to still clarify. It was such a beautiful criminal theory case, and a good theory could have come up with that case, but then we got lost somewhere in the media trial case. Let's go ahead. So Article 21 of the Indian Constitution clearly states that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. The right to take, abridge, or curtail the right to life of any person is carried out at the hands of the state and in strict accordance with the procedure established by law. Any adverse effect on the right to life of an individual by any other means would only amount to the violation of the right to life of the aggrieved and the failure of the constitutional machinery in securing to all the very principles it was created to safeguard and strengthen. So we see that Article 21, though is very, I think, the smallest article of the Constitution of India, right to life, but then it has the biggest depth of the entire Constitution, and somewhere it is the soul of the Constitution. So when we talk about right to live with dignity, right to live with dignity is embedded in right to life. So when we talk about the dignity part, it has to be that no one can blame anyone in a way where their image in the public or their position in the public is hampered. For example, let's discuss Ria's case. What happened? We were first blaming her with that she extorted the money, but then the entire investigation happened and no extortion as such legally was established. Though media established all the theories very well, but then legally what theories are established, we have to take them into consideration. I know that what happened to Sushant was very unfortunate, but the legal case is one on the basis of legal evidences and not on the basis of emotions. My own emotions are very attached to this case, that what happened, and the entire country wants to know what happened to him. He was such a young dynamic star. At least what went wrong? Was it mental health? Was it he was extorted? Was it was murder? But then I don't think that I am someone who will believe what happened in the media, and I will always look forward to what happened inside the court. So when the theory of extortion was kept in front of the court, no such evidences I think came up and the theory was held. Then it was an angle of murder. Then till now the angle of murder is going on, and now the drugs probes have come in and whatnot. Then we have to take into consideration that was he also involved in it, because he was a 34-year-old adult and he was not a child who can be probed into it. So I think when a trial is happening or when a legal proceeding is happening, everything, a balanced approach has to be kept. I mean, we are a country who kept Kasab for so long in judicial custody, and we served him till he was blamed guilty beyond all doubts. So when we are doing this inside our country, then somewhere it puts a question mark on the system, or the question mark on the media houses, that just because for some point of TRP, or just because it is a celebrity case, they just want to wash it off in a hurried way or something, or just the emotions are so at hype, so they want to just blame the other person. But then legally everything has to be proved. Like I said, that when somebody is blaming me that I stole something, then that thing has to be found within my parameter. It has to be there in my house. If it is being found on the road, then I'm not a thief. Let's go ahead with it. So the right to a dignified life of an accused is tarnished even before the conviction of the accused. The repercussions arising out of the unchecked media trials in cases, specifically in cases where the accused has been acquitted or discharged of the charges, seem to have an everlasting impact during the remainder of his natural life. The social standing of the accused as well as his family is completely devastated, which is violation of right to life with dignity. The relief sought the relief which has to be sought in such cases is that the media trial should always be focused on what are the facts and what happened on day to day event, and some official has to come in, like for example the drug probes which is happening and the NCB is questioning. Then the media should not be having a right to go and report it, but some NCB official should come forward and talk about that what is coming out of the trial. But at any instance we haven't seen any proper officer coming forward and answering the questions for us, and the media is only making and breaking the theories, which becomes a lot of exhaustion and confusion for us for a while, because this is a pandemic year and we have other issues like farmers' rights and the GDP and everything. So we have to have a balanced reportage system where every important news is covered, because what is happening within the Bollywood industry is confined to just a part of the country, and the entire country has many issues which are worth being reported. Let's go ahead. The relief is just a minute. So, in the age of information and technology, where unverifiable information is only a click away to orchestrate a series of events that could shake the foundation of any social and judicial system, the role of media as a fourth pillar of democracy finds its efficiency open to criticism on grounds of gross misconduct and in demeanor of the procedure established by law under the Constitution of India. Furthermore, the media pillar now feels like the misbalancing fourth leg of the chair, tilting justice and public opinion to and fro to satisfy its everlasting quench of TRP. Media plays a vital role in shaping public opinion and the general understanding of day-to-day events as well as the policies of the government. Especially the last 2 decades seen the advent of cable televisions, local radio network and the internet have greatly contributed to the enhancement in reach and impact of mass media. The ever-expanding readership and viewership coupled with the use of modern technologies for news gathering has given media houses an unprecedented role in shaping the general public opinion. However, media media's freedom also entails a great deal of responsibility. The strength and importance to the role of media in democracy is recognized and enshrined in the Indian Constitution. That is Article 19(1)(a) of the Indian Constitution provides for the freedom of speech and expression. So whenever we talk about freedom of speech and expression, I think this has become the most fundamental right in nowadays. Whenever I go on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, I always see two or three people fighting together because they have some different opinion, and all of the parties have freedom of speech, so they are just putting each other down and have no important discussion whatsoever. So whenever there are two people who have different kind of opinions also, they should, I think, still stick to respecting each other's opinion, whatever it is. Because I myself have been a part of some debates on Facebook where I feel that it is just a wastage of time and you cannot change someone else's mind, because they are in a different position, they think differently, their experiences are different. So whenever we talk about freedom of speech and expression, we have to always keep in mind that there is a concept of reasonable restriction, and this concept is many a times forgotten in the whims of just having a right. And we have to take this theory very well into account, that every right comes with a duty. If I am not performing my duty well, then my claiming of right is useless. Because if I will not be performing my duty well, for example, I am A, someone is B. If I am not performing my duty well as A, then B will be infringed of his right. Then I will go on fighting कि उसका right infringe हुआ तो मतलब मेरा भी होगा. So I am go on fighting कि no, his right is infringed, now my right will be infringed, but I want to claim my right. But I will not see that why those rights are infringed, because I have not performed my duty well. For example, what happens here, that if I keep on writing something, or if I keep on fighting with my views, then the learning part sometimes take a back step. For example, when you see Sushant's case, for an instance, it has not only shown the incapability of the media houses, but then it has shown the incapability of CBI also, because CBI somewhere is not able to solve two big cases of the country. So we have to take into consideration that what all is needed to solve a case properly in a manner, and how those cases were not solved in that manner. Then we see the lack of police also, that how they filed the case, what happened, what kind of police investigation was supposed to be done, because everything happened when everything was out in the social media. I mean, CBI got the case after 2 months, when people were shouting that now the case should go to CBI, and there were so many hashtags on the social media. So, and otherwise it was declared a suicide before that, and the case was about to get shut. So I think that was a major step and a major loophole in that case, that why the social media has to come forward to seek CBI investigation, and why not the police themselves felt that okay, this is a case, something which has to go to the higher authority. So there are so many questions at every step of investigation and every stage which needed to be answered. But I think that no system is perfect, and every system is made perfect with constant efforts. Let's go ahead with this. So the strength and importance of the role of media in a democracy is recognized and enshrined in the Indian Constitution, that is Article 19(1)(a) of the Indian Constitution, provides for the freedom of speech and expression, which includes within its ambit the freedom of press. The existence of a free, independent and impartial media is the cornerstone of all civilized democratic setups. It is without any doubt that the media has made a great contribution to the state, where even the judicial wing has benefited from the fearless journalism and taken so moto cognizance of cases from the findings of reports of journalists and their accounts. Let's go ahead. So the film journalism, when we talk about, I would like to talk about this film journalism specifically, that when you go for reporting on Bollywood, so Bollywood has been always an attractive topic that people like to read about what our stars are doing. Some stars are idol enough, are looked as an idol as well. So the film journalism which is there, it has always been a great source of interest and amusement. So it is a genre, was potentially a money spinner. So if you see all the media houses, they have their Bollywood page running, because obviously it is a great deal of revenue and money spinner for them, which was why almost every major Indian media house at one time made sure to have a film magazine as part of its stable of publications. Some of the most discomforting aspect of today's news journalism, especially television news journalism, drawn from formula tried, tested, and deployed by the cinematic publication of every year. Some channels even broadcasted images of Rajput's body lying on his bed. It was a violation of the Press Council guidelines. Especially the first ever paper which published this was Gujarat Samachar. In a Gujarati platform, this newspaper published the dead body of Sushant Rajput, claiming that his neck is entangled and it is a murder. So when you put these kind of reports directly in the newspaper, claiming that this is a murder, and the picture was put, and then that picture made a roll on various social platforms. It was on WhatsApp, Instagram pages, Twitter. Everyone started claiming that okay, this is a murder. But then you have to see that how the legal proceeding is happening, and whether if it was a murder, there has to be a weapon, there has to be a murderer, there has to be something when the post-mortem was done. But then I think there has been a very different investigation as per the expectations of the country. And then there are various celebrities like Kangana Ranaut, Payal Rohatgi coming forward with bashing videos. I mean, there was nothing to do with his death. So somewhere there was so many people who wanted their own interest from this murder, that somewhere the justice which was supposed to be served to Sushant lost its importance. Let's go ahead. So some channels broadcasted image of Rajput's body. I have already discussed that. However, with the increased active participation and role of the media, the need for its accountability and professionalism in conduct of their operations cannot be emphasized enough. The founding fathers of the Indian Constitution expressed their intent as to the character of fundamental rights in our civilized existence. These rights can never be absolute and fall subject to reasonable restrictions at the discretion of the state and the interpretation of the courts. Certain fundamental rights are inalienable, yet there is no fundamental right which is absolute. In recent times, there have been numerous instances where the media has conducted the trial of an accused and passed relative judgments even before the competent court could pass its verdict, and in some cases even before the investigation agencies could outline their approach to their respective investigation. This unchecked conduct of media organizations result in the loss of the dignity and social standing of the accused, because the public opinion and sentiments revolving around the case are swayed and indirectional and are even misguided by these media trials. The neglect in the following or the due process and the constant air of interference in investigation ridicules our procedural law and intercepts the masses from the understanding of the procedure established by law. So what happens when we see that the media houses and the journalists are running behind the celebrities and already calling out them for their offenses. So there is a mindset in everyone that, okay, this person has done something wrong without realizing that the legal procedure has not been established as yet. For example, you take Sushant's case, the legal issues have not yet been framed. Just people are being investigated on certain points or the other, whatever it is, for WhatsApp chats or for being with him or his friends and family. So in that case, I think calling out one person to be a criminal or to be an offender is not right. For example, Sushant's parents have filed a case against Riya Chakravarti, but then they have to fight it in the courtroom, and whatever evidences both the parties have will be presented in the court and be decided that they are admissible or not. But fighting on social media and calling out each other, and then the country is divided, because this is not a national issue to be taken into consideration. It is just one of the offenses which is an unfortunate event, and it has to be handled in a very mature manner. Let's go ahead. Just a minute. So, however, there are always two sides of a coin. With this increased role and importance attached to the media, the need of its accountability and professionalism in reportage cannot be emphasized enough. In a civil society, no right to freedom, however invaluable it might be, can be considered absolute, unlimited, or unqualified in all circumstances. The freedom of the media, like any other freedom recognized under the Constitution, has to be exercised within reasonable boundaries. In an increasing competitive market for grabbing the attention of viewers and readers, media reports often turn to distortion of facts and sensationalization. The pursuit of commercial interests also motivates the use of intrusive news gathering practices, which tend to impede the privacy of the people who are the subject of such coverage. The problem of the media have steadily grown at the guarantee of a right to a fair trial and pose a grave threat to the presumption of innocence. What is more, the pervasive influence of the press is increasingly proving to be detrimental to the impartial decision-making process of the judiciary. Such news stories cannot easily be defended under the auspices of freedom of expression. Every institution is liable to be abused, and every liberty, if left unbridled, has the tendency to become a license which would lead to disorder and anarchy. This is the threshold on which we are standing today. Television channels, in a bid to increase their television rating point, are restoring and sensationalized journalism with a view to earn a competitive edge over the other. In recent times, there have been numerous instances in which media has conducted the trial of an accused and has passed the verdict even before the court passed his judgment. Some famous criminal cases that would have gone unpunished but for the intervention of media are Priyadarshini Mattu case, Jessica Lal case, Nitish Katara case, and Bijal Joshi case. Now, if we see these cases, that is Priyadarshini Mattu case and Jessica Lal case, in these cases, media's role was very positive because the people who were being charged for these cases were very high profile, and had it been for the sake of media intervention, these people wouldn't have come in limelight or this case wouldn't have survived. So media at various instances has played positive and negative roles. Dr. Bijal Joshi rape case. The media, however, drew flag in the reporting of murder of Arushi Talwar when it preempted the court and reported that her own father, that is Dr. Rajesh Talwar, and possibly her mother Nupur Talwar were involved in her murder. The CBI later declared that Rajesh was not the killer. This phenomena is popularly called as media trial. The trial by media is an impact of television and newspaper coverage. There are different reasons why the media attention is particularly intense surrounding a legal case. The first is that the crime itself is in some way sensational. by being horrific or involving children, or the second is that it involves a celebrity, either as victim or accused. Although a recent coined phrase, the idea that popular media can have a strong influence on the legal process goes back certainly to the advent of the printing press and probably much beyond. Let's see a history of media trial. Although a recent coined phrase, the idea that popular media can have a strong influence on the legal process goes back certainly to the advent of the printing press and probably 20th century. One of the first celebrities in the 20th century to be arguably tried by media was Roscoe Fatty, who was acquitted by the courts but nevertheless lost his career and reputation due to media coverage. Parallels can be drawn between these cases and the trial of O.J. Simpson. The connection is less about guilty or innocence but about the promotion of the media coverage in the public mind above the status of the court. Another interesting case in the US was Rodney King incident and subsequent trial of the police officers involved. Once again, an acquittal is challenged by the media reporting with violent consequences. What makes this case particularly important historically is the fact that it was an amateur video footage which provided the key evidence of perceived guilt. As video cameras and the digital success and CCTV becomes widespread, this type of caught on camera incident become more and more common. This can pose real problems for the legal system as the evidence they provide may be inadmissible for technical reasons. But they give very strong images for the media to seize upon and the potential to manipulate by editing. So like I was discussing that there are so many cases and there are so many videos which come up at different platforms that their admissibility is always become a question. And like if there is a crime which is covered under the CCTV camera or anything, but then we have to see the technicality of those videos and if it is a real video or edited video, because we all know that the video editing of a video is very easy and it can go to places. So that's why we are still have a long way to go when it comes to media coverage or video or print information, because they are because our legal system is still has a long way to go with it. So here I would like to rest, and if there are any questions, we are
Yes.
open to questions.
Yes, yes. It was a really fantastic session by Advocate Samiksha Pandey, and she has elaborated the Riya Chakravarti case, Talwar case, all in a very well-defined manner. Madam, the question to you, ma'am, the question number one, that
Yes.
you know, in Riya Chakravarti case, firstly, when an FIR, because Bombay police has not lost an FIR, correct?
Yes.
So the FIR is lodged at Bihar, correct, by their parents.
Yes.
Now, it is as per the FIR, the police went from Bihar and came to Bombay for the investigation. And then these Bombay police has stopped for and they have quarantined them for many
Yeah.
days. Now the question is that, you know, we know that yes, there is the evidence, until and unless the evidence will not come, the court cannot do anything. And even though the CBI cannot do anything, because CBI is doing the summon to various actors, and you know, media is capturing a very small thing in at a very large level,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
Right now, yesterday
Yes.
I was seeing Arnab Goswami at Bihar for the election, and Pappu Yadav is on the telecast. So no doubt there was a flood at Bihar, but he is showing that there is a lots of problem. But you know, you should hear both the parties. By shouting at the public, it's not making a solution. So I think when you are inviting in a media to various people, you should calmly give the answer in a proper way. Number
Yes.
one. Number two, madam, first question is that if suppose these types of things are happening, question is that whether the CBI is going to adjudicate the matter with these types of, because this is a pressure from the government also, that this should be adjudicated in a very better way, investigation should be done in a better way. That's why the CBI has, and CBI from last I think 2 months has investigated and they have given the report also. So the
Yes.
question is that why this media is so highlighting this matter in such a manner that, no doubt, I am not saying that until and unless the evidence will not come, our evidence act also says that the person is still innocent. Correct? So, ma'am,
Yes.
my humble question to you, that what can be in this scenario the media has to do while capturing a correct data? Because if you say while speaking in a very large manner, it doesn't make that you will get the evidence. Isn't it?
Actually, yeah, here the media is somewhere taking up the role of the court in this particular case. Like,
Yes.
see, for example, even I feel somewhere that both the parties should be heard, and then a proper investigation has to be done, and even whoever is the offender should be punished. But then, till the time evidence is not coming, just saying that Riya Chakravarti is the criminal, but we are not having any evidence against her as well. Direct
Yes.
evidence and direct connection to which can prove a murder is not there. So murder has still not proved, even if it is a drug probe or anything, but then it is not proving the murder, which is our ultimate aim to prove.
Exactly.
That if there is a person who has murdered Sushant Singh Rajput, we should be founding the murderer, we should be founding the weapon with which he has been murdered. And this is what was lacking, if you see, was lacking in Arushi Talwar's case as well. We were not having any weapon. Then later on, after so many 6 months, it came that okay, there is a hockey stick. But if there was a hockey stick in the first place, it should have come on the first day itself कि हाँ hockey stick से Arushi को मारा. I
Yes.
mean, when the investigation goes on, it goes on step to step. एकदम से कोई एक दिन तो नहीं आ जाएगा कोई एविडेंस ऐसा जहां पे आप पूरा केस बंद कर देंगे और प्रूव हो जाएगा. सो आई थिंक इट हैज टू गो व्हेन द पीपल आर बीइंग इन्वेस्टिगेटेड और आर बीइंग क्वेश्चन. आई थिंक दैट हैज टू बी अ वेरी प्राइवेट इवेंट कि उनसे क्या क्वेश्चन पूछा, उन्होंने क्या जवाब दिया. अब यहाँ पे कुछ न्यूज चैनल्स हैं, आई एम सीइंग दैट वो क्वेश्चन भी मीडिया में लेते आ रहे हैं कि ये क्वेश्चन पूछा गया. न्यूज ये रिपोर्ट कर रही है कि दीपिका कितनी बार रोई उस इन्वेस्टिगेशन के दौरान. आई मीन दिस इज सच अ बिग डिस्ट्रैक्शन टू द लीगल प्रोसीजर. वो रोई, वो नहीं रोई, उससे क्या क्वेश्चन पूछा गया, ये हमारा अल्टीमेट एम नहीं है. हमारा एम तो ये है कि हम जानना चाहते हैं सुशांत को किसने मारा. उसका जवाब तो हमें कोई नहीं दे रहा है. कंगना रनौत अपनी अलग बात बोल रही हैं, सारे सेलिब्रिटीज अपने अलग बात बोल रहे हैं, पॉलिटिशियंस आके अपने पॉइंट्स रख रहे हैं, लेकिन कहीं से भी हमें सोल्यूशन तो नहीं मिल रहा है.
Yes.
ये तो पूरे सिस्टम में कुछ ना कुछ प्रॉब्लम है ही. तो क्या सारी प्रॉब्लम हम एक दिन में एक सुशांत की डेथ के बाद तो सॉल्व कर नहीं सकते. इट विल टेक टाइम, इट विल टेक करेक्ट प्रोसीजर्स, देयर विल बी केसेस फाइल्ड. सो टिल देन व्हाट is the right procedure? I think the CBI procedure and the CBI investigation has to be very one to one. हमें पता भी नहीं चलना चाहिए, मीडिया को लीक ही नहीं होना चाहिए कि किससे क्या पूछा गया है. और वो व्हाट्सएप चैट से लेके क्या क्वेश्चन पूछा जाएगा, वो कब आ रहे हैं एनसीबी ऑफिस में, सब कुछ हमें हर मिनट में पता है. ये कोई सिंपल इंसिडेंट नहीं है, ये बहुत बड़ा एक, अगर हम इसे देखें तो एक ये बहुत ही बड़ा क्राइम लीगल इंसिडेंट है जिसका एक सही प्रोसीजर के थ्रू सोल्यूशन निकलना चाहिए. बिकॉज इफ देयर विल बी एनी लीगल लूप होल विच इज लेफ्ट इन दिस, देन इट माइट बी दैट एन innocent might get jailed, and we don't want that to happen to anyone. So the legal procedure has to be very thorough, जिसपे कोई क्वेश्चन मार्क ना लगाया जा सके. एंड मीडिया के इन्वॉल्वमेंट से बहुत से क्वेश्चन मार्क्स होते हैं. आई मीन मुझे तो समझ में नहीं आता, इफ सीबीआई इज सच अ हाई अथॉरिटी, आई कैन नॉट गेट इन्वॉल्व देयर एंड आस्क कि क्या चल रहा है. सो आई थिंक आइदर इट इज डन फॉर सम रीजन और फॉर सम पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर. क्वेश्चंस कल क्या पूछे जाएंगे ये आज मीडिया के रिपोर्टर को पता है. I mean, this
Yes.
is ridiculous, and this is
Yes.
a very negative media reporting done.
Yes. Ma'am, second question, that I have seen the case of 2G spectrum case where the CBI has investigated the matter. And you know that in 2G spectrum case, when this matter was running, I himself was present in this case with for accused number 16, that is Kanimui.
Okay, sir.
And I found that, in this case, all were acquitted. Earlier, the Honorable Supreme Court has granted the bail also, regular bail, and then all have acquitted. Correct? So,
Yes, sir.
until and unless you are not getting the evidences, because, the CBI will also go through the same procedure. First, they will lodge an FIR, they will investigate, then they will file a charge sheet, and then they will do the Panchanama, punch witnesses. They have to go to the procedure of CRPC. But
Yes.
my question is that if suppose, no doubt, I am not saying that CBI is not a good investigating agency. It is a very good investigating agency. But why so much delay after 2 months? This investigation has been done. Why the Bombay police is stuck up? Because FIR is not lost, but Bombay police has to, because there is a provision in our CRPC that Bombay police can also lodge an FIR that they have got the information. If suppose I am dialing a 100, what zero number na? 0 or 100?
100, 100.
100. Suppose I am dialing 100 number, so immediately the police should take an action, but Bombay police has not taken a single action. So my question is that for pertaining to this delay, why the government is not responsible? My question is this.
Sir, actually, what happens that in this, in any criminal case for that matter, when we approach to the police officer, the police team goes. I think they file a charge sheet or they make any objects that okay, this has happened after thorough investigation. A charge sheet is filed. So I think what must have happened, there was already so much confusion going on pertaining to Sushant Singh case. So, and it was already saying the theories and different people were fighting among them that it is a mental health issue. Then some people were saying it is murder. Then some people were saying this is extortion of money plus murder. But then we haven't come across any theory which is proving it all totally. So in such case of confusion, what happens? And even if Bombay police wanted to file a case in this matter, in what offense they should have gone? Because even mental health has not been proved completely that he was mentally ill. He wasn't mentally ill. He has done so many good movies and he has been a bright person. So I think mental health was also not one of the main reasons. So it is still a very big speculation going on, and then the family is blaming the actress is blaming back the family. I think it has now just become a blame game, and so many outsiders have also come into this theory, like so many other celebrities. So I think the cause of the death and the cause of justice has now become a very far back space. For example, you see Kangana Ranaut theory. Now, this woman I am not able to understand. She was blaming the Bollywood. That angle didn't prove out. Then she went on fighting with Maharashtra government. Then her mother is getting a ticket from BJP. So then her own interest is only being followed everywhere, where she is fighting for Sushant's justice. At no instance, why is she asking her mother to go and join BJP if she is purely fighting for Sushant's case? So I think everyone has taken advantage of the loophole. And since Maharashtra government was not sure that in which angle is true and in which way they should file the case, they didn't file the case. Then social media came ahead. People started running petitions for Sushant Singh Rajput. His sister came in front asking for CBI investigation, and actually I will say that his family took legal action a little late. I think they were very sad and they were not able to understand what the situation happened. When his family came ahead that okay, this is wrong, what has happened to their son, then I think things started falling in place. that a case was filed properly in Bihar, because sitting in Bihar they cannot predict what happened in Mumbai. In Mumbai also he does not have any relative, so saying what happened in the Mumbai police office is very tough for anyone. But since from the time his family has come into the picture, filing the for right cause and fighting for right cause, then it has taken a bit a good angle. But then there are so many outsiders who are still threatening the cause of justice.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it was very fantastic session by you, and I have put it 2-3 questions because I can understand that for continuous 1 hour lecture it is the person will exhaust also, and you have elaborated in a very well manner. That is very good part. So, ma'am, we will also invite you in the future also for the respective topics. And whenever you are coming at Gujarat, madam, you are most welcome at our university. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much, sir.
And on the behalf of Parul Institute of Law, I'm thanking you, Jiten Kuhani sir, who is the organizer of this event. He has, every time is important. So he is very much peculiar about the time, because if suppose 1 minute
Yes.
also you are late, then he is responsible for that. So I'm
Yes.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Jiten
Thank-
sir, for this event. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.